episode of the Habibis podcast. 3 game developers drinking good Arab tea. My name is Rami Ismail, your host for this episode.
And I'm Osama Dorias.
And I'm Fauzi Mesmar.
Happy birthday, Rami!
Oh, yes. Happy occasions.
Yes.
Whew, yeah, it was a birthday. I'm 33 now.
Oh, my
What?
God.
I thought
like-
you were 23.
He's catching
No.
up with summer.
Oh, no.
I'm like almost half Osama's age now.
You're almost there.
He's
Right.
catching
I-
up.
Am I close to Fauzi? I don't know if I'm close to Fauzi. I'm close to Fauzi, right?
Yeah, you're close.
Closing in again.
Closing in.
I love how birthdays work. One day we're all going to be the same age, right?
That's it.
Exactly.
That's how it works.
It's like a level up curve.
I mean, technically, the ratio between our ages decreases, right?
That's true. Normal.
As we get older, the distance between the ages gets smaller.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But Osama's still going to be old.
Yeah. You know what? When I'm in my 90s and you're in your 80s, I don't think it'll matter so much.
No, I don't think so either. We're going to make for really good old grumpy men at some point. Yeah, Osama, are you still checking for your emails? They stopped emailing like 2045.
What do you think is the tech that's going to replace emails in 50 years? Whatever it is.
I don't know, but it's going to be terrifying when you figure it out.
The nanobots in our vaccines or whatever. So what did you do for your birthday? Anything fun?
Yes and no. Yes, as in I spent most of my week in the UK, in Brighton, where there was an industry event.
Ooh, those are
And-
back, it seems.
I miss those so much. How was
I
it?
had been to a Sweden Games conference a few weeks ago.
That's right.
And that was really small and intimate, and it was nice. It was one of those university events, if you remember them, right? So it's mostly a university, and then a lot of industry people that sort of like come around. Hovde, where that event was, is very much a place where the industry is like booming.
Mm-hmm.
So it was one of those. This was Brighton Develop, and it's like an old industry event, right?
Mhm.
Like it's like everybody kind of goes there. If you're in the UK, you're probably going to go down to Brighton Development. If you're in BizDev or you're running an indie studio or whatever, chances are you're going to want to be there. So I don't know how many people it were, but it felt like a actual real games event.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, it was cool. I did a
Good turnout.
panel. That was good. Yeah, I can't tell how many people it was, but it was definitely full. It was
Nice.
it was maybe 1,000 people, 1,000,
Wow.
like I don't know, like something like it.
I don't remember the last time I saw those kind of numbers. I mean,
Right.
they're not huge compared to some of the other conferences we've been to, but like for the last 2 years, that's the biggest thing I've ever heard of.
Yeah, no, same. And I had a panel early in the morning at like 9 a.m. and then it turned out to be 10 a.m. So that's the first talk in a decade that I was early for. Yeah, that was very good. Panel was really fun. Talked about sort of like the future of independent game studios and like how the pandemic affected it and what we see for the future. So that was like a really fun topic to sort of spar with a bunch of peers about. That was really good. Yeah, like I was outside. That was nice. Brian has a good beach. So a lot of the events sort of like spilled out onto the beach every now and
Oh,
then.
nice. Good weather.
No UK weather, but it was an opportunity to be outside. So that a lot of us just made bad decisions because it was the first time you could make those bad decisions again. So I saw a lot of people sort of like stumbling back in the hotel at like 4:30 a.m.
Oh, yes.
after they'd been like outside somewhere, and they're just like walking back in, and you're just like, well, I don't know. I'm glad I don't drink. I seeing like everybody's little eyes early in the morning and just being like, yep, nope, okay, yeah, you had a rough night. Okay, sure. I think I've talked about this earlier, but it's really sort of incredible how transient a lot of the industry is, and that we just sort of like can pick things back up again.
Yeah.
'Cause
it's almost like it didn't happen.
Right.
Things are like
No,
going
it
back to normal.
really felt like it. It really felt like it. You just say like, "Hi, how's things been?" Well, finished this project during the pandemic, and now we're working on that. Oh, cool.
Yeah, exactly.
How about you? Yeah, this and that. Oh, yeah, no, I'm doing this and that, and then you just pick up your friendship where you left it off, and it's kind of incredible. It's nice.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Had good food, which is remarkable in the UK, because that's not really their forte, I think. Caught up with lots of old friends that I hadn't spoken to for like years. Did the finally sort of like the industry like gossip machine is starting to run again,
Oh no.
because that one kind of like relegated itself to like the you only hear things pretty much directly from the source, at least in my case. Like
Yeah.
people would reach out to me and tell what was happening, and now it's starting to do the like, oh, I heard that this and this is a thing. Oh.
You didn't get those in your DMs?
No, normally I just get the source, right? Like
Yeah.
people just reach out to me, so I mostly get stories directly, right? But this is like now is like the sort of like the background radiation is like getting louder again. So I can't quite tell if everything that I've heard is true because it's not from the source, but I can tell you that there's a lot of things being said about where the industry might be heading and what's happening and what kind of deals are being made and like all that. So that was fun. Also,
I miss those too. But then
Yeah,
again,
yeah.
I've been going to a bunch of like local events, so I've been catching up on these.
Yeah.
As of late.
So that was fun. And then I was supposed to fly home on Friday. And then just through a absolutely ridiculous sequence of events, I ended up spending my time not being on the flight because I missed it. So that was very Arab of me. And then KLM worked diligently to rebook me for subsequently later flights.
You're rusty, Rami. You're forgetting what it's like to catch a plane on time.
Until eventually I got rebooked for the first flight the next morning, rushed home so that I could still make it to my flight training because I booked double flight training for my birthday. And then I met my new instructor. That was nice, and it was his birthday too, so that was funny.
Well, look at
That's
that.
awesome.
And but the weather was bad, so we couldn't actually fly. So we did a bunch of like ground prep and like theory stuff. So that was it was fun. It's pretty clear which plane I'll be flying most, I think. So I'm excited for that one. It's a pretty little Cessna 172. Yes. Just the Arab Muslim gets F-16 straight out of the gate. It's how most flight training. It's how most flight training goes. Truly. It's a tiny little Cessna. It's the Papa Hotel Whiskey Mike Alpha, which is a Cessna 172. It's cute. It's small, but it's a cool airplane. It's a little bit modernized, so that's also nice. But it's going to be a good trainer. It's going to be fun to fly in. So I'm excited about that. Did the flight training without flying, and then went back home, and then prepared for family to drop by for my birthday. They brought like a cake with the photo. You remember the photo of me with the aviator sunglasses and the headset?
Yes.
Yeah. So they printed that onto a cake. Which meant I had to eat part of my own face, which was a bit weird.
I was about to ask, did you eat your face?
Yes, I ate a part of it. It was a delicious cake. But then my dad also brought 2 cakes, and I had also brought 2 cakes. So there's like 5 cakes in the fridge right now.
You need to give one to the pilot.
Right.
Give him one with your face on it.
That's not creepy at all.
I was like, I really appreciate you as an instructor.
My face.
Here's a cake with my face on it.
It's perfect.
And then I've upgraded recently to the Switch OLED. I talked about that a few episodes ago,
did.
I think.
Yes.
Yeah, you like it.
So I did. And then I had a spare Switch.
Oh.
So I gave that to my dad.
Ooh.
Oh.
Who doesn't game yet.
That's unexpected. I thought you gave it to your mom or something.
Yeah.
No, so mom already has one.
Ah, okay.
So that wasn't needed anymore. She played some Animal Crossing, and she
Nice.
enjoyed it, but she got a little overwhelmed by it, which fair enough. No, but so I got my dad the Switch, and because I called it a Nintendo, and he's like, "I know Nintendo." I'm like, "Yeah." And I downloaded 2 games for him. He really likes racing back in the day, so I downloaded Asphalt 9.
Ooh, that's a good one.
That's a good one.
It's pretty straightforward. It's just basic racing. It has relatively simple controls, so I thought, you know what, let's give that a go.
I worked on Asphalt 6 and 7, huh? I've worked on that series.
That was in 1984, I think.
Before they even made video games.
Right, yeah. No, Asphalt is such an old series.
Yeah.
It sort of surprises me every time because it kind of came up along with mobile phones, right? Like 2012, 2011 maybe?
Yep.
I don't know.
I used to make video games before there were smartphones. Yep. That's me.
No, I also started because if you remember, sort of like Ridiculous Fishing was when the indie scene sort of like realized like, hey, maybe we can do these mobile games. Solid Skier and Cannibalt was sort of like the early wave of that. But I was there before smartphones were a thing you would make games for. I mean, we're obviously ignoring like the G2ME and the N-Gage era, but
I made the G2ME game.
G2ME was great.
I made the game in a month for the Pizza Factory or something like that. It was like a pizza place, and they wanted to make a game. And
wow,
me and 2 other people made a 2 G2ME
you had
game.
What did you have? You had like G2ME, and then you had Symbian, and then you went to like iOS and Android.
I skipped the Symbian era, but I did a G2ME game.
Right.
It was very limited, to say the
least. It was fun though.
Yeah, it's game making. It's always fun.
I'm sorry to say that a lot of like sort of old software cracking I did was on G2ME. So I'm sorry if I cracked any of your games.
No, my game was a local pizza place game. So probably no.
Probably not.
What kind of game was it? I'm actually really curious about that.
It was a dumb game. It was like it was something you were supposed to download and play. You download through the provider even and play while you wait for your pizza to get ready at the store. Okay. And it's basically like a Diner Dash kind of thing, which like you get an order, you need to put the ingredients on the pizza in the right order using the number buttons on the device.
Okay.
Very simple game, but
it's busy.
It was one of those contracts, right? Like we were making our actual game, and it's been years since that thing made money, and we're like, we'll take any job in the meantime to finance it.
Yep.
So I gave my dad that Switch, and I downloaded Asphalt, and then I downloaded one other game.
What'd you download?
It was a recommendation from a good friend called Fauzi.
Ah, I know that guy.
I've heard of
him. 51 board games or something.
Oh yeah. That's like very early Habibis.
Because my dad was just like, can I play like Tola?
Oh yeah.
And I'm like, I'm pretty sure there is a Tola game on the Switch. So we ended up installing that, and then just played a bunch of games, not Tola, but just sort of like through the app, and sort of taught him how to use the Switch.
Yeah.
And then there's one game called Hit or something. It's basically a code cracking game.
I know the one. Yeah.
Right, you have 4 or 5 spots to put colored dots, and then it will tell you which one, how many of them are in the right spot and the right color.
Yeah,
and how many of them are the right color but not in the right spot. Right. It was released as a game, as a physical game under the name Mastermind, I think.
It's Hit and Blow. It's what it's called in the
Hit and Blow. Yeah, Hit and Blow. And we just played that, and it was it was me and my dad and my mom, and they're divorced, and I haven't seen them in the same space all that frequently lately, so it was nice to have them in the same space. But also they everybody that was there just really got into trying to solve this puzzle. We did so bad. We did so incredibly bad. We were like, we would be like getting up and like walking to the TV and pointing at the TV and being like, look, this means that, and then that. And then at the end, there was this one run where we started with like we had 3 white dots. 3 were in right color but wrong place, and we somehow ended up with nothing right.
Wow.
And we were just like, we're just all here
Wow.
talking. We're just talking Einstein, and then just just completely messing it up, and just laughing fit after laughing fit. So that was really
Make it more
fun.
difficult if you allow duplicates of the same color. So if you
Right.
you can also disable duplicates, I think, and then that
So-
becomes a much easier game.
Duplicates were off. It was just all of us had a different strategy, and it meant that ultimately it went really poorly.
When you said 3 whites, I thought you meant actually 3 white pieces.
No,
But
no,
it's-
three hit,
Yeah, yeah.
3 hits,
3
but not
hits.
blows.
Yeah, got it.
Yeah. So yeah, it was just one of those evenings where it just like it ended in just like laughter for hours.
That's
so that
awesome.
was really good.
That's awesome.
That's amazing. I'm happy.
So
you
your
had
dad
that
is now
experience.
into it. He's playing backgammon.
Yeah, no, I sent him home with the Switch. I added myself as a friend, and I guess it'll get set up, and then maybe we can play some Tola against each other.
Nice. Oh, there's chess
But-
on that thing as well.
There's
Like a bunch
chess,
of other
yeah.
games that he probably knows.
Yeah, I've been playing through a lot of them, and you're right. There's a lot of games in there.
It's good, right?
Yeah, no, it's like like when you explain to me, I'm like, okay, yeah, that sounds okay, but like, it's both an incredible variety of games, but also they explain the games really well.
Yeah, yeah.
So yeah, like you have Tola, you have Backgammon, but then you also have Mancala,
Yeah,
and I'd never played that.
yeah,
But after 10 minutes, I was like, "Oh, this is fun."
yeah.
Um,
And it has AI, and it has online multiplayer, and it has local
Yeah.
multiplayer, and it has
But-
on the Switch multiplayer. So like,
right, and then finally understood shogi.
oh yes,
Oh.
you got to play it. I explained it on the podcast terribly.
Right, but the way the assist helps you understand how it works is incredible.
That's true.
Because it kind of just shows you like these squares are under attack. These squares are under attack by you. Kind of like it gives you sort of the movement space that you have and the movement space that the opponent has.
Mm-hmm.
And it's surprising how much faster that teaches you how to actually play.
Yeah,
So I played like 5 or 6 games with the assist. Promoted each of my pieces, to see how that all works and how it affects the board. And then kind of your chess brain can kick back in. Just with all these additional rules.
yeah.
And you're just like, oh, okay, I see.
Yeah.
I'm probably still not good at it, but
I mean, but it's very deep, and there's a lot more that you can keep track of. But it's still chess.
yeah. I enjoyed it a lot.
Awesome. We should
play. Played the game War, which was really funny because the game also gives you hints on like how to get better. And War is a card game where each player has 3 face-down cards in front of them, and they can't know which one they are.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And then both of them pick a card to slide forward, and then you reveal both cards, and the higher card wins.
Okay, so I mean, I've played War before, but I guess the version we played was a very simplified version because it was just you have your deck, and
Right.
you each flip a card, and whoever has the highest one wins. So this is like the Texas Hold'em of War, as far
Right.
as I'm concerned.
Yeah. But so basically, you still don't know what you're playing.
Yeah.
Only you have a little bit more. You have more of a feeling of agency,
Yeah.
right? And then if you win, you get both cards. If it's a draw, then the cards stay, and you play cards on top of it, and whoever wins gets the entire stack. So it's really straightforward. But the hints were just like don't think, just feel. And then hint number 3 was like try to learn from people with a naturally lucky lifestyle. And I'm like these are good tips. Yeah. I appreciate this.
Yeah.
Like even the game is like, like it's a game, it's popular. We don't know y'all. Like just do something, it'll be fine.
Yep.
So it's just a really charming, really well done sort of collection of games that I wanted to echo Fauzi's recommendation because he's right. This is incredible. I love it.
Awesome. I'm glad you liked it.
Yeah. I mean, Fauzi's is often right. Let's just put it that way. So far, it's been 100% hit every time he's
Pretty
recommended
consistent.
a thing. Yeah.
Consistent. Yeah, it's a thing.
I saw that you're playing a game I recommended to Sama.
Yes, actually, I finished a game that you recommended.
Oh, did you?
Yes, I finished The Artful Escape,
Oh, nice.
and I absolutely loved it. It
Ooh.
was not okay. So I had played it a little bit before the last podcast, about 45 minutes in, and I'm like, okay, yeah, this is interesting. I like it. but the game didn't start yet.
Yes, when you told us
Yeah.
and told me and
Where
Ronnie,
you
you're
were.
like where you were, you'll be like, yeah, okay, we'll wait till next week.
Yeah. Both of us just instantly went like, "Oh,
Yes.
well,
There's
well."
there's actually a quote from the game that I wish I remembered exactly right, but I could at least tell you a gist of what it was. But it kind of summed up the game for me. It went something along the lines of creating art isn't creating what people need or want. It's creating what they don't expect, and
Mhm.
that's exactly what this game is. It's
Yeah.
one thing that you don't expect after the other, but it's so beautifully crafted. It's so well done that I can't help but recommend it as well. I have to throw in my recommendation. I
Good
felt
old
good
Johnny
playing it.
Galvatron.
Yeah.
Words of wisdom.
Yeah, it was so well done, and not it's not the kind of game I would ever think I'd like. If I'm perfectly honest, it's very light on mechanics. There's just
Mhm.
very few things that you can do. Many of them felt a little bit superfluous at the beginning. Later on, they felt a little bit better. Like it took me a while before I was where I had the feeling. Why do I have a jump? Why is it
Yeah.
even here?
Yeah.
There's no need to jump ever, right?
No.
I mean, and whenever they put something, it's there just so you can jump over it. There's no other thing you can do. It's just
Mm.
there. But I actually kind of enjoyed jumping instead of just walking. I think the game would have been a lot worse if I just walked to the right as the main mechanic.
Yeah.
Giving me that option a little just broke that up a little bit. So
There is an amazing feeling when you're in the mid jump and you strike
Yes.
the chord and you hit the
Yes.
crescendo kind of thing, right?
Yes.
It's a euphoric sensation that those mechanics kind of try to convey in some way.
Yes. So I actually take that back. I take a lot of the things back about the game. I think it really does come together and it work well. There's still a few small questionable things, but the whole is so worth it. It doesn't really matter. There's not even any point in mentioning it.
I really felt like it was like the game was like whisked to our reality from an alternate universe where PS2 games were very artistic.
Yeah.
Right, because that's kind of how it feels. Like I think Fauzi and I had a discussion about how it doesn't feel like they had like a game designer on board for most of it.
Yeah.
And I think that's true. This is like purely feelings.
Yeah.
Like everything is feelings. The jump is about feelings. The chords are about feelings. Yeah, of course. Like it's a little dismissive to not call that design, because it is absolutely design, but it's not the way we normally approach game design, which is very solutions focused and very like this is very much like. We just want to feel things.
Yeah.
Yeah, what I described it is that like this is like you can tell that this is the team that's making a game for the first time to some
Yeah.
extent, and like you can tell like the term I use is like it's not a designer's game per se.
Yep.
Yeah.
In which like a designer would be super focused on mechanics and systems and dynamics and that kind of stuff. This is good. Like I have a story to tell. And I have a personal experience that I want to convey in this art form of video games.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And everything else kind of takes a back seat to it.
I hope they keep that because this happens in music as well. Usually, an artist or a group's first solo album before especially if they've never been taught music, especially if they're self-taught, it has a certain feeling to it. It has a certain like vibe to it because it's rough around the corners. They make a lot of mistakes, but it's a unique work of art, right? And that makes them very popular. And then they learn what they did wrong and they adjust. And then their future albums are often just cookie cutter and not special. So I really hope this doesn't happen to their future games. But you know what I'm talking about. You know that phenomena that I'm talking about.
Sure.
I was going to recommend the book actually if you're interested to read more about this phenomena called The Innovator's Dilemma.
Mm-hmm.
And the book is basically like explaining how like when you're starting out to create something or build something and you don't have anything to lose other than creating the thing, then you're more likely to go all out, right?
Yeah.
If that thing becomes successful, then all of a sudden you have expectations to meet.
Stakes, right?
Yeah.
And stakes. So like, your next thing has to kind of be like that or better. Your audience is now expecting a certain quality, maybe expect certain characteristics of the thing that you're making. So all of a sudden you're caught in this dilemma. So you start to want to make more stuff to please the people that like your first thing. So you start to create, you lean towards creating more things that are similar to the things that you've done before. And that opens room for somebody else who has nothing to lose to come up and then surprise you with something drastically different. And in product world, whether it's physical products or games or any kind of entertainment, it's why you see a company would create the same kind of shampoo for a decade or more until this radical company comes out of nowhere, go like, wait, we have nothing to lose, we're going to throw everything into this new type of shampoo and then win that market share. But once they do, they're caught in that same dilemma themselves. So almost any kind of creative endeavor can fall into this, in which you kind of become a captive of your own success, so to say.
Yeah, I mean, I remember this a lot from having done Ridiculous Fishing and Super Crate Box early on during Vlambeer.
Yeah.
As being like, okay, we really have to intentionally move away from making more like that, because otherwise we're just going to be that studio.
Exactly.
Right? It's rough.
Yeah.
Those things are tough. It's a strange thing of being creative on the cutting, sort of on the cutting side of capitalism or commerce, right? You both want to create stuff that is meaningful and purposeful and that means something to you, but at the same time, you really don't want to not be able to pay yourself or lose the people that already like your work.
And you have bills to pay and all kinds of other obligations that the newfound success kind of created.
Right.
Also, so at the same time, there was a part of you in that creative product that you made, right? So trying to steer away from it means that you need to kind of not be yourself in some way, and that kind of makes it difficult for you to remain authentic, which is also a tricky thing, right?
Yep. Yeah, it's all creativity at large is complicated, but
I think this is why I like how the book described it as a dilemma. It's not it's it's a problem that is not obvious to some people, or it's a thing that you find a solution for. It's a dilemma. You either you do one or the other. Damned if you do it, damned if you don't.
But it's also not necessarily a problem, right?
Also, correct.
It's right. It's a dilemma. It's something that you might be stuck in, but it's not necessarily an issue either way.
Correct.
It's a choice you have to make at some point.
Yeah, you just have to choose something.
Yeah, exactly.
I feel like a thing that a lot of people forget to teach when they teach any creative field is just the amount of personal introspection and reflection and sort of self-awareness that has to go into being a good creative.
I focus my teaching a lot on that. So you probably have seen me reference this topic a lot in how we analyze video games. I also probably recommended a lot of books on this topic because I'm genuinely interested, but I also believe that internal retrospection and your ability to reflect as a creator eventually helps you in creating.
Yeah, I think so as well. I think there's really no way around it. If you want to be creative, you're gonna have to reckon with yourself at some point, right? With the good about you, with the bad about you, with who you are and how you think, and how you deal with validation, how you deal with stress, how you deal with expectation, how you deal with others, how you deal with not having the answers or regret, responsibility. All of those things, they're just lots of feelings.
It's so hard to be a game dev. It's so hard to be a creative, right?
Right. Yeah, but I think we and obviously there's a lot of good teachers who do focus on those things too. But I think overall it's still very frequently sort of explained as a hard science, right? Learn how to program, learn how to solve projects, make flowcharts, do good edge loops, whatever it is. We talk about the specifics of the tools and the creation, and it's really important that we also talk about the human part of it. And I don't know, it's getting better over year, but Richard Lamartian just released a book, right? I don't know if both of you will know Richard Lamartian.
Yes, I haven't read this book yet.
Right, it's just out. But Richard is an incredible game designer and a teacher who's always been very human-centric, very experimental. One of genuinely like one of the kindest humans in video games. Just a wonderful human. And he released a book called "A Playful Production Process for Game Designers and Everyone."
Oh yes, I ordered that.
Um, yeah, I ordered it too. Like the moment it was announced, I was like, "Yep, nope, bought." Because not only every time I've had the pleasure and privilege to sit in on one of Rich's classes or to be part of them, but also just in talking to the man and like having known him for many years, like the way he looks at things is really from a people's first perspective, right? Like
Hmm.
people are everything, and production is such a, especially production is such a numbers game, right? We have like 4 weeks and three people available. Like, how much can we get done in this? Um, figuring out how to create something while being playful, while being genuine, while being sincere, while being healthy. I think that's incredibly important. So I'm pretty sure this will be one of my must reads for upcoming developers in the future. But
Hmm.
I haven't read it yet. I
Yeah,
can just already tell you that that's what's going to happen.
I'm super looking forward to read it as well.
Hmm.
Yeah,
I'm
it's on my
also
radar as well.
super happy that you like the game, Osama. And like I think
Oh, I loved it.
there's a testament to this game is that seems like every time it gets brought up, the conversation starts with the game and then becomes broader around the creative process or like creativity, finding your own voice and all of that, which is the core of the message of this game. And
Exactly. Like honestly, like I saw a lot of myself in the struggles of the protagonist, right? But there were a lot of other little things too, other than just like seeing yourself in the game. There's a lot of things that it showed that these people had like a good budget or something, good backing, but they were raw in their game making, and that kind of thing is beautiful. It reminded me a lot of the pitches I get from student projects, if that
yeah,
makes sense.
yeah,
What
yeah.
if
Yeah,
what if these
for sure.
students had a budget? What would they make? That game is definitely one of like it fits in that category. What they would pitch early on in our programs, not later on, sadly.
Here,
So maybe
I
we need to adjust and allow that spark to come
I
to
th-
persist.
True.
I think what the Artful Escape really did that was impressive to me is I think I've seen this pitch from students myself as well, right? But
Yeah,
I don't think most students would have the confidence to actually pull it through all the way to the end.
yeah,
Hmm.
Like the restraint that game shows is, for such a maximized game with so much stuff going on and so much money spent on like visuals, like the amount of restraint they have in what they actually created
yeah,
is staggering.
yeah.
Like, it would have been so easy to add stuff, but instead they're like sprinkling unique things every now and then. But when they do, they have so much impact.
Yeah. And it didn't fall into the trap of we spent this much on this, let's repeat it 4 times either.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, incredibly well done.
That's
Yeah.
awesome. They play anything
Anyway,
else, Osama?
yeah.
Well, actually, I watched a thing.
Oh,
I watched Dune.
Oh, finally.
oh,
Nice.
I still haven't
Yes.
watched it.
I haven't watched it,
No.
Rami.
Nope.
Okay.
So, wait, have you read the books, Rami? Do you
Yeah,
know the
yeah.
story? Okay.
Yeah, I
so,
know the story.
So I could talk about it a little bit without spoiling for anyone who still
Mhm.
wants to watch it, since it's a relatively new movie anyway.
Yeah.
I actually thought Villeneuve did an incredible job in a lot of ways. It's a beautiful movie, really, really beautiful. A few people were saying that it was slow and they lost interest. I didn't feel that. I thought it was really incredibly well paced. It kept my interest throughout. Um, my only gripe with it is, even though I know it felt like it was done respectfully, like actually they had good intentions, I'm still a little bit sad about the pseudo Arab representation. I felt like they made up languages, and I guess that's okay, but they didn't really sound like they had a people that kind of look Arab. They spoke something very different. They had a culture that was kind of different, and a lot of it comes from the books, and a lot of it could have been fixed. Does that make sense?
Hmm.
Like I would have rather seen Arabs play those parts and like speak with
Mm-hmm.
our accents or whatever. It felt like they borrowed just enough to make me a little bit uneasy, but still that they had good intentions. They didn't try to make it a caricature. Does that make sense? It sits in this like little like this midfield, and I don't know, Fauzi, if you felt the same thing, but I mean, it's totally okay if you didn't.
Yeah.
I
No,
just
like
I'm
I
just
think for
curious.
me, like, obviously I caught that it's similar but not there.
Yeah.
But then I also thought like they're also, filming Wadi Rum as if it's another planet.
Yes.
So
Mhm.
so, just considering that this is like an entirely different civilization on a different planet in an entirely different world and lore,
Yeah.
makes me feel okay that that they can get inspiration from different sources and then like tweak them to become something else. So like for me, I felt like there's a lot of similarities to Arab culture,
Yeah.
but I didn't see them as Arabs. I saw them as like an Arab-inspired alien race,
Yeah.
if that makes sense.
I do agree. I really do agree. Like again, I don't think they did anything wrong. I just felt like you're so like if you just pushed a little bit more, it would have been so much better. Do you know what I mean? Like
Yeah,
I felt like I would have loved to see Arabs in those roles. That's it. Like that's really my
Right.
my gripe is that it
yeah.
felt like they borrowed a lot, but they gave it to someone else, and that
I
kind of
mean, what do you mean? There's like white people fighting over an Arab desert full of resources that are really important. I don't see any metaphors here.
Yeah.
So
Uh,
someone said that like it felt to them like this was Lawrence of Arabia in space,
right.
and I think
Yeah.
that was actually a very good way to summarize the little bit of unease I felt.
Yeah.
It's not enough for me to tell people not to watch it or to say it's bad. Nothing like that at all. It's just like I felt like so close. That's a feeling I
Right.
had. I'm like, oh, you're so close. Just a little bit more would have been much better.
Yeah.
Right.
I would agree with that.
Yeah.
I think there was a really good article by somebody named Haris Durrani who
Mhm.
wrote an article about the Muslimness of Dune, and I thought that was a really good read. It is also like very long,
Okay.
but it's
Fits the movie.
yeah, it's smart. It has a lot of references, and it shows kind of like the approach that the writer of the books, right, that Ebert had about the approach that he took to writing this, and sort of how that shows in the movies. And I think actually the books are, despite still having sort of like that problematic, like, well, problematic is a big word, but sort of
Yeah.
like that unfortunate sort of, oh, I see what this is a metaphor for.
Mhm.
Um, that it still actually engages with a lot of the themes of being Arab or Muslim. It engages with those themes at a very genuine and sincere and research level.
Mhm.
I don't know how the movie does it because I haven't seen the movie yet, but I'm very curious to go in with the perspective of actually being pretty worried about it
Mhm. Well,
because I love Villeneuve's work and I love the cinematography of it.
mhm.
Usually, right, the colors, the scene setting. But I also feel like Villeneuve, mostly the trick that he uses is he takes books that are not, that you can't make movies out of, and then he makes movies out of them that are books, right?
Yeah.
Uh, so I don't know how good he's going to do that, but I'm very curious to find out.
Yeah, I spoke and I touched on that on the podcast before, so I'm not gonna say it again.
Mm,
But yes, I can understand your concern there, Rami.
right. We'll see. I'm excited to see like pretty things on a screen.
Nice, nice.
Yep.
I
That
watched
I
was
really.
mostly it for me this week. So
I
I'm
watched
glad
the
you.
Oh,
movie.
Would you
Actually, I
watch?
oh,
wanted to recommend as well. I watched The French Dispatch.
Ooh,
Have you
okay.
guys heard about this? I'm a big Wes Anderson fan, like huge.
Right.
I
Yeah.
am a
I
Yeah.
huge
Yeah.
Wes Anderson
Yeah.
fan.
I
Yeah. Same.
love his movies, and like I think he is very creative individual,
Yeah.
and
Hmm.
like his movies always inspire me.
Right.
This is no
Yeah.
different. This is a really good Wes Anderson movie,
Good.
A
and you can
really
tell
good Wes Anderson movie. Okay.
like he gets better with every movie almost. Like this is
Yeah.
not better than the Grand Budapest Hotel, which is one of my
Which was
favorite movies.
amazing. Yeah, I love
That's one
that
of my
one.
favorite movies, but this is
Yeah.
close. This is pretty good. And I think
Oh.
like without spoiling it, I would say that if the Grand Budapest Hotel was a novel, the French Dispatch is a short story collection.
Hmm.
Okay.
It's really well made. Incredible cast. Like every 2 seconds you'd be like, "Oh, it's this person. Oh, it's that person." Oh, and it's just like one Academy Award winner after the other,
Of course. Of course.
showing up in succession. Incredible soundtrack and like the classic Wes Anderson shots and edits and pans.
Mhm.
And like he switches styles a lot in that movie. It's like black and white to like black and white with a little bit of color into full color into out of color. His use of cinematography is just on a league of its own.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Wonderful movie, recommended highly.
Okay.
Super artistic. If you like Wes Anderson, this is a no-brainer. If you've never seen a Wes Anderson movie, you totally should start.
Yeah.
This is a no-brainer as well.
This is also a no-brainer, but also start with the Grand Budapest Hotel for sure.
Yeah.
I don't think you should start with that one.
No,
because
I
why?
disagree. No. I think it's the best one, but I also don't think you should start with it.
You make your way up there.
Yeah, you kind of like. I haven't seen the French Dispatch yet, but I feel like watching the Grand Budapest Hotel with having a bit of like Anderson's oeuvre in the back of your mind actually makes it stronger.
Yeah, true.
Well,
true.
if you just see it as first thing, you might just spend most of your movie, most of the movie being like, "What? Huh?
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah, true,
Mhm.
true.
No,
Yeah.
it's still a good movie that way, I think. But I would absolutely recommend that you kind of get used to what happens.
I agree. You know what? That's a good point. This is gonna get used to his style.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, but like really, this guy's so creative. I love
He
it.
is. He is incredible.
I love his work a lot.
His use of color is unparalleled. Like
Yeah,
I've
yeah.
never seen anything like it.
Camera
It's incredible.
movement, cinematography,
Yeah.
it's just
Everything,
everything. It's
Yeah.
a master of his trade, really.
Yeah.
And I played a couple of video games. One of them is a pretty old video game that I played with Osama.
Yes.
We finally managed to find the time to play some online games, and
Yes,
Osama
we
and I
did.
got to play some Street Fighter.
Street Fighter 4 Ultra.
To be
So
exact.
this is two people that have both expressed that they're very good at Street Fighter.
Well, I never said I was very good at Street Fighter. I said I love Street Fighter. Don't put words in my mouth.
This is also
pretty
what I
su-
said. This is also what I said. I also said I used to be okay.
Yeah.
You both understand that in the Arab world, that is saying that you're very good at it, right?
But I actually was pretty good. I used to win tournaments at Game Loft.
So I'm hearing some careful like Osama preparing me for the fact that Fauzi won.
Fauzi didn't just win; he wiped the floor with me. He's really, really good. He's really, really good.
Oh, Osama, you're pretty good as well. You got a couple of rounds there that were like I couldn't do much.
Yeah, thank you. I also got a couple of matches too. Just saying, I didn't
true.
only win.
Yeah, sure. Oh, I struck a nerve.
I mean, no, I'll admit defeat 100%. But come on,
Yeah.
I won a couple of matches too.
Yeah, you
It's
won a
not-
couple of matches. That's what I meant, man.
Yeah,
I mean,
yes.
Osama, you were the one that said that Fauzi wiped the floor with you.
Yeah, he did, and he did. I like honestly, his guy, like a character in the game, not just a generic guy. His guy is is really solid. And keep in mind that we were both playing with gamepads because we didn't want to bother going to get our joysticks. So maybe a rematch is in order where we actually have joysticks.
I
and
would
can
love
play
that.
at our best.
PS4 controllers, to be exact, in which
Yes.
like the
Wow.
triggers are just like crippling me.
Yes.
My
Yes.
high kick can't connect almost always.
Yes, the same. Actually, I was playing characters where you need to press either all three punches or all three kicks at the same time. I was playing Zangief and Vega, and I couldn't do the all three punches just because of my map config. So
Yeah.
I had to use the weaker versions of the abilities that were the all three.
I'm
kicks.
definitely listening to Arabs talking about a contest they had. Both of them are just like, I had this disadvantage. Well, I had this disadvantage.
We
Well, I
technically had the
I
same
had
disadvantage.
3 buttons I needed to press on my character. Very good, very good.
It was fun.
I'm sad
Fair,
I wasn't
fair.
there. I would have loved to watch that.
We'll do more of these probably. The more
We'll do more
next
of this.
time
we
we'll do
need
more of
you
these.
to do commentary.
Yeah,
Right.
exactly.
Yeah. Osama is pressing buttons pretty fast. Fauzi jumped over the thing. So for the record, my Street Fighter knowledge is about like I know the characters and their basic movesets.
Good.
So-
that means you can play.
Perfect.
I can play it. I can
definitely
play. I mean,
commentate as well.
yeah, I can do commentary and it'll be like,
Shoutcast.
yeah. Well, Fauzi was which one was Fauzi? Fauzi was the red one, right? It's gonna be great. So smooth.
Yeah. So
Uh,
that was a bunch of fun, and I played another old game as well. I um, I played Marvel's The Avengers.
Ooh.
And I
Wait,
know
which one?
you're probably saying Guardians of the Galaxy came out. Why don't you play
Yeah,
that? But
that's exactly what I was thinking.
I wanted to play it, but then I saw that the Avengers came out on Game Pass, and I realized that I've never actually played it.
Okay.
So I started playing it. It's fun. I played, I
Yeah.
don't know, 5-6 hours of it. It's pretty good. I got to play as the Hulk, and that means like I
Yeah.
can grab somebody and slam them around.
Yes.
That's always a good time.
I played that game when it came out, and to be honest, like I know it came out to mixed reviews. I don't think it deserved the like. Okay, no,
Yeah.
let me be fair. The single player mode didn't deserve the hate that it got. I thought
Okay.
it was a very good single player mode. I enjoyed it a lot. I didn't play multiplayer, so I can't comment on it. And from what I understand, a lot of the negative press it got was from the multiplayer. But I didn't play it, so I don't have an opinion on that. If you just want to play it for the single player, I love playing as Miss Marvel. I actually was super happy that she was there. I think her.
Mhm.
I'm not a Pakistani teenage girl, so I can't speak to that experience 100%. But it felt authentic to me with all the parts that I overlap with, which admittedly are not many, but still, I really, really liked her being there as a Muslim character. I still remember being a teenager, even though it was 100 years ago. And I love that, right? So, I'm getting ahead. I'm getting ahead, so Rami can't say anything.
I was just about to say.
Yeah, so like,
I was like, here comes an opening. Here comes it. No, he did it himself. Okay.
Yeah, he gave in. He knows.
Yeah.
It's better this way. If it comes from me, it feels
The wise man of the podcast.
I'll take
Even
it.
getting ahead of the jokes.
I'll load it.
Yeah.
But yeah, sorry, I'll let you speak about it some more.
No, it's all right. I haven't played the multiplayer part, so I don't. I haven't seen that yet. I definitely did see that there's a little bit of a complicated inventory management system and loot system.
Oh yeah.
I didn't really get into it much. Right now, I just I collect the stuff as I'm playing, and I just the game has a feature in which it will automatically equip the best stuff for you.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It was kind of funny to see that some of the equipment that you collect when you're playing as the Hulk, so that the system still works even if you're the Hulk, but the Hulk's only equipment is pants, really. But you still collect a stronger spine or a better wrist or stuff like that, and it upgrades. So it kind of, I know why it's there, but it's kind of funny to see. Yeah. And I'm playing the single player campaign, and it feels like standard single player stuff with the combat and the walk-in sections, the conversations, all of that stuff. Yeah, cool. It's kind of what I expected of the game.
Yeah.
And then at some point the game opens up and there's a mission selection screen, and you select squad and you deploy on an area to start running missions and stuff like that. And I think some of them are single player missions, some of them are multiplayer missions. I was like, so that's why I stopped. I haven't played more of that, but I was like, okay, what's going on? This is not what I expected. It seems like it's something different, and I can see why this could be an area where they might get criticism or stuff like that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But so far so good. From what I wanted out of the game, can I play as the Avengers? The answer is yes.
Yes.
Can I fly as Iron Man and Hulk smash and throw my shield around and that kind of stuff? Yes.
Yeah.
Is it great graphics, good voice acting, and all of that stuff? Yes.
Yes.
And there's more to it, it seems. And there's multiplayer. So I'm curious to see. The idea of playing as a group of 4 people and each one of us is a superhero is kind of neat,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, maybe we'll try it in multiplayer. I didn't jump in because I should have given it a shot, to be honest. But I read some of the commentary and I'm like, well, that's not my cup of tea. I don't like loot based only purely it felt like the based on the comments, it's only there so that you could equip loot, and that's not why I play an Avengers game, if that makes sense. There are other games that I'm totally okay with that, but like you said, I just wanted to try the characters' powers. I wanted to play it approach it that way. It didn't feel like that's what the multiplayer was set up for. But I mean, since it's on Game Pass now, we can play it. We can pick up a 4th. Yeah.
I played it on Game Pass.
This podcast is such a Game Pass commercial.
I have it on PS5 if you prefer. That's why I played it originally. I haven't played it on Game Pass. I played it when it came out.
we recommended Switch games. We talked about the Switch for like a good 10 minutes earlier.
Yeah, Ravi.
We talked about the
Every
Kishi.
episode is
Get
like,
off,
so,
Ravi.
oh, I got the Kishi.
Yes.
Yes. Oh, the Kishi's amazing. Isn't it amazing?
No, it's good.
I love it so much.
Yo, we're right. I thought I saw it in the store and I looked at the price and I'm like, this is a tremendous amount of money for a piece of plastic.
Yeah.
It's good plastic.
And then I bought it and I plugged my phone into it and I'm like, oh, okay.
Yes. It's so good because like you don't need to charge it. It just plugs into your power of your phone directly. You could plug it into the into the wall to charge it while you're playing. Like it has these little quality of life things that are so good that other devices don't.
No, it's really good. This is the Razer Kishi for people listening.
Yeah,
which is available for free on Game Pass. No, it's not. It's what? It's $100.
It's free. It took me a second. I'm like, wait, what?
No, it's what, $100 approximately.
It was a little bit more than that in Canadian, so I don't know if it's
right Canadian.
It was like 150 Canadian, so maybe 125 US.
But if you play games on your phone or you want to use it for like Stadia or streaming or whatever, it's really, really, really good. The triggers were surprisingly good.
Mm-hmm. Yes, agreed.
I was shocked. I was like, "Oh, these feel nice.
The buttons feel good. The D-pad's pretty great.
Yeah, yeah. Just overall, and like it folds up really small. It seems very sturdy. There's not really electricity involved.
Nope.
Yep.
That's
the thing. No charging, no pairing with Bluetooth.
Yeah.
You just plug it and go.
You can still charge your phone through it, which I thought was a very highly appreciated feature for me.
100%.
Faster charging. Yep. Yeah. I would have thought. I thought you two were just egging me on.
No.
We want to spare you from carrying your PS5 forever.
But I'm still going to carry my PS5. I don't think that's not stop. You know how much latency you get on a PS5 remote play?
You get a bunch.
Well, okay, so there's an app that you could. I have to find the name. I don't remember it, but there was an app that you could get and play remote play on PlayStation 5 where the latency is actually better than the official app. I tried it. It's not perfect, but it's better. But with your Kishi, you could just play so many of the Game Pass games that are over cloud, just like that. You don't even need to install them. Yeah. Wait, did I mention Game Pass again? Yeah. You know what? Maybe it's time to get our first sponsor for the podcast, right?
Phil,
no, for the love of God, no.
Phil, if you're listening, give us some money.
No, please, no.
We've earned it already.
Fauzi wants no money. Okay, give me and Osama some money.
50 split.
You can't sponsor you can't sponsor Habibis, but you can sponsor individual Habibis.
That's true.
Wait, you know what, Rami? I think I'll end up with all the money. You don't even pitch anything Game Pass.
It's fair.
Ooh,
fair.
We have conflicts in the team already. The minute you mention money, Rami, see what happens.
See what happens. It's gonna be real simple. We're a bunch. We're Arabs. When it comes to money, we're just gonna end up splitting it anyway.
You take it. No, you take it.
No, you take it. You talk way more about Game Pass. No. But you're also on the podcast. Yeah, but Fauzi gets none. Yeah, but Fauzi didn't want any. Right,
I don't want any. Please.
Maybe we can just sneak some money to Fauzi.
We'll take him out for a restaurant, but then he'll offer to pay.
Put it in his jacket pocket when he doesn't notice. You know, you've all done that. I've done that. Somebody else paid for the bill, and I was like, "Well, while they're away, let me just put the money in their jacket pocket."
Was it on our Discord that someone told the story about how their grandfather canceled their father's credit card before going to the restaurant, and then let him go try to pay, and it was like, "I guess I'll cover it now."
Wow,
amazing!
That's like next level Arab. I love it. Speaking of our Discord, Osama.
Yes.
Do you have one of those like Discord messages, but just go to your inbox instead?
Yes, I think they're called emails, and I do have one of those.
Oh, if you also want to send emails to Osama, you send them to info@thehabibis.com. That is info@thehabibis.com.
At this point, I feel like we should just have like a Mil Osama at thehabibis.com.
That's true. I like that.
Yeah, because it's better if you guys don't read them, so you're surprised when I come on and then talk about
I stopped reading Habibi's email. You're just reading them.
I'll leave it to Osama now.
I've become the email secretary. I got it. I'll own
Yes.
this.
Okay.
All right. So let's get started. So we have an
Curator
email.
is the word we prefer. At
Curator.
the
There you
Habibis.
go.
Yes.
We have an email from Rachel Cleveland. She says, "Hi, Habibis. I have a question for all of you. What is your favorite aspect of video game creation as an art form and as a way to tell stories? I enjoy a lot of different art forms like writing, drawing, and I'm curious what drew you to choose video games as the way to share your stories with the world." So I think we need to like define what exactly this means, because favorite aspect of video game creation as an art form, and then the examples that she gave were writing and drawing. So maybe we're talking about like the different art forms that form video games, or maybe and then there's a part about how like as a way to tell stories. So maybe the our favorite storytelling vehicle within games, or there's many ways we could answer this question.
I'd,
Does
I'd,
that yes?
I'd address it maybe as what I like about video games from like a story delivery or like way to tell a story or a narrative, maybe philosophical and design point of view rather than just the medium itself, right?
Yes.
So like it's like saying 2D is better than 3D and all of that stuff. Like it's not interesting for me because like
No.
any kind of art is art. It's not about the shape of it. It's the philosophy of game design that interests me about
100%.
games as a medium to deliver a story. So for me, I think
100%.
what differentiates games from any other medium is like for most mediums you're kind of receiving. Like if you're watching a movie or if you're reading a book, then like the creator just or like you're looking at the painting, then you're just like receiving what the creator did with not a lot of input of your own. Like if you're watching a series, you're just sitting there and taking the input and maybe analyzing in your brain, but like there's no direct interaction between you and the medium. You just get what the medium is telling you and you register it, save it, have quotes of it, disagree with it, etc. But you receive it and then it becomes in your mind to do what you do with it. Whereas in games, it kind of like if you stop paying attention, the game will be like, yo, that thing I taught you 5 minutes ago, let's see if you can do it. Oh, you can't, huh? Well, no more game for you. You kind of like it's a medium that demands a lot of you. It demands your attention. It demands your focus. It demands you to take an active part of it. And it also requires your participation. And what's even more exciting for me from a narrative point of view is that your choices affect how the narrative unfolds. So therefore, there is weight to the decisions that you make in the game. So like when games give you weighted decisions, and those weighted decisions unfold as a narrative, and in some games even allows you to create your own unique narrative that's different from every game experience. I think that's a very powerful thing that only games can do. And that's very exciting for me. That's why I would choose games to tell stories if I'm telling stories, because of how unique that experience is.
Okay.
Excellent answer.
Yeah, I like that. I don't know. For me, it's always been working backwards from the answer, because I didn't really pick video games. Like that's just kind of what happened in my life when I was like 6 years old, and I got fascinated by the fact that you could type things into a computer and then games would change or happen. So I've just kind of chased that all of my life. I think for me, a lot of game development is less about sort of the exercise of communicating and more about like the weird side effects of the inefficiency of communicating the way we do. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Right? Because it's kind of a mess. Like we're typing code and like creating all this digital stuff to then create feelings and thoughts and like intents in the player's mind. That then give them a feeling, right? We're not giving them feeling. The game isn't giving them feeling. Their brain is giving them feelings. We're just sort of like nudging their brain in the right direction, but we also have to sort of like accept that if we do something really emotional and the player is just tapping spacebar to skip through it real quick, that's also a valid way of playing the game. So I don't know, like like the big dramatic jump from a movie where somebody like runs to the edge and then jumps over. In a video game, the player can bunny hop that backwards. We can't really make that a dramatic moment because that's just not what we can't control that unless we move to another medium in our work, right? So I don't know. I think it's the inefficiency of the communication that really somehow like appeals to me. Like it's kind of a bad way of doing what we're doing, but it's also the only way of doing what we're doing. So we just do it.
It's funny
I
being
kinda love
described that way.
Right? But I don't know. Like
It's true,
as
though.
I've
Yeah.
as I've been making games, it's sort of been the conclusion is that we picked the worst way of doing certain things, but there's no other way of doing specifically the things we want to do.
Yet. Exactly.
Yeah.
We both jumped on that yet.
Yeah.
Yeah. For me, I actually started making games decades before I even considered it as a career. I was making games. No, but I mean this literally in this case.
I know. I'm sorry. I'm trying to not. I'm just like zip it around me. Do not.
I set myself up for that one. I'll admit it. Really,
I really tried. I'm so sorry.
it's okay. I've spoken about this before, but I started making games when I was really young. I made board games and card games, and eventually made maps for levels and things like that. And I never, at that point, never considered it a career. I only considered a career in games when I was in my late 20s. I actually joined the gaming industry when I was 27, 28, something along those lines. And I did so because I saw another Arab become a game designer. And all of a sudden it clicked in my head that this is a possibility. I've mentioned this before. Why did I make games when I was really young instead of anything else? I actually really loved making a thing and seeing other people experiment with it and seeing what they're able to do with it. Like basically, I wanted to make games so other people can tell their stories in my world, if that makes sense.
Oh, that's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's what like drives me. It's like my favorite games are like I make a thing and then I see how you interpret it. And I feel games lend themselves to that more than any other medium. All art forms do this. I'm not going to pretend otherwise. People will read a book, watch a movie, look at a painting, and derive something different from it. But games, they'll experience something different from it completely. Like that is the uniqueness. So it kind of overlaps with what Fauzi was saying. But that's what drove me. So I would make board games, and I would make them as systemic as possible to allow people to really have choice and make different decisions. And even if it's broken, when I would make those games when I was really, really young, I love it when someone broke it. Oh, wow, you figured that out. You did this. That's great. Like, if someone found a way to speed run through my game, I'd still want to fix it. You know what I mean? I still want to come back and be like, okay, that wasn't unintended, but good on you for doing this. You told your own story. You went through your own path. You figured out your own way. And that, like in my world, I love that. That's what
awesome.
drives me.
You get along really well with QA then.
Oh, I absolutely really do. And speedrunners.
And speedrunners, of course.
I absolutely, one of my favorite things to do is to watch speedrunners play my game and figure it out and know it more intimately better than I do. That's the part that shocks me each time. Like, what do you mean they finished that level in 8 minutes? That's absolutely impossible. Oh, wow. Okay, you could run up that wall, you could like trigger that teleport from there. What? Like that kind of thing. So speedrunners are a little bit different because it's not exactly storytelling, but it still overlaps, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I love that each one of us have a different answer to this question. It's a very good question, by the way. Thank you for sending it.
Yes, that's an excellent question.
And
that's
with
it.
that,
Yeah.
I think we're wrapping up the episode for today.
I think so.
I think so too. Wow.
It was a good one.
Smooth. Very smooth. Good. For everybody listening in, do send emails over to Osama at info@habibis.com.
That's confusing. Now they're going to send it to Osama at info@ the Habibis. What?
It's info@habibis.com.
Yes.
That's the one.
Yeah, did I say Osama?
Yes.
Yes. I think,
Send emails to Osama at info@thehabibis. Yeah, that's another one big. All right. Admit it. And we will be back next week with another episode. For now, hope you enjoyed it, and salam.
Salam.
That was the Habibis podcast for this week. I was Rami Ismail, your host for this episode. You can find me on Twitter at @THA_Rami. My fellow Habibis were Osama Dorias, who you can find on Twitter at Osama Dorias, and Fauzi Mesmar, who you can find on Twitter at Fauzi Mesmar. Send us your questions, stories, and suggestions via info@thehabibis.com. The intro and outro music was provided by Malik Zubaila, and the logo was provided by Ibrahim Hamdi. The Habibis is a weekly podcast about 3 game developers drinking good Arab tea, with new episodes launching every Friday, inshallah. If you enjoyed the show, don't forget to subscribe on your favorite podcasting service